right? And you're thinking, should I try this out? I don't know if I should. You're not gonna know unless you try. I always try to tell people, keep going until you can't go anymore. And then when you keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, stop, take a little mental break, look in the mirror, say, why am I really doing this? And then keep pushing again. Because I think even in my short 9 years, I haven't worked a day in my life. I love my job, I love my career, I love my family, I love my work family. And it's something that you shouldn't shy away from.
I think to be a good firefighter, you need to be dedicated.
Somebody that's driven, that's honest.
We're looking for people that are strong. We're looking for people that can learn.
Definitely need to have both physical and mental stamina.
Hard work, attitude, effort.
Being a team player, being collaborative in your thought process.
It's a job that you really kind of have to go with the flow. At times you have to be very flexible.
Professionalism is huge.
One has to obviously have some sort of compassion.
People who are very service-oriented. They want to be community servants. They want to make a difference.
90% of what we do is going out and dealing with the public on their worst day.
So I always come to every single call and arrive with a bright smile on my face, looking to assist in whatever way I can.
Why is this the greatest job in the world? Well, because you're not in an office every day.
You're walking into the same place, but you're walking into different situations every day.
Today's fire service is all risk mitigation.
Most of our calls are medical related.
As the first arriving crew, we're like bringing the emergency room to the patient.
We do respond to fires of all different types, from rubbish fires to vegetation fires, vehicle fires, structure fires.
There's also water rescue, hazmat events that could take place.
And then there's other calls like vehicle rescues, cliff rescues, trench rescues.
It's not law enforcement related. Oftentimes, we're the ones who are called to handle.
When we come on duty, we do a shift change, and the off-going crew pretty much just gives us a run-over of what they did during their time on duty, what calls they went on, stuff we may need to check over in the rig.
As the day begins after the meeting, we do our cleaning and maintenance of the apparatus and the firehouse.
We need to take care of our station, because if you have a nice station to live at, you're going to be a happy crew.
We need to sweep and clean bathrooms and kitchens.
Making sure that whatever we're doing in the station, we can drop it and be on that rig and ready to respond within a moment's notice.
We have a meeting every morning. It's called Lineup. I go over all the daily new staffing material that's required of them, and so that they have a plan, organization to their day.
Which includes training, could include some fire inspections or prevention.
We also provide our own meals, so members in the fire station are required to cook quite often.
We figure out who's cooking, and then we'll go shopping.
Some person will come up with a plan and everybody else will pitch in and help cook. We try to have some camaraderie too. That means that during lunch we play a game of cards while we're eating or something like that. We try to have fun, but it always comes after everything else.
Staying fit is part of a lifestyle for this job.
I've thrown my pile of gear that I wear without any specialty tools on the scale, and it came out to 70 pounds.
Every fire station has a gym in it.
We follow a physical fitness program that everyone should participate in.
I keep myself physically fit, and I expect the same from my firefighters. They all, every day, they work out, and I think overall it helps us perform the job safely and efficiently.
In addition to that, while we're here, we try to take care of each other, right? So hydration, nourishment, and also rest is very important.
There's a lot of sleepless nights. Usually we're up running nonstop, so we all sleep when we can.
We are paid, and it is our job to be ready at a moment's notice. And the only way you do that is to train.
Come to the fire station, we train every single day, sometimes 2, 3, 4 hours a day on any aspect you can imagine.
You never stop training, you never stop learning. There's an evolution when it comes to all the knowledge, equipment, technology. We have to stay up on top of it.
Reading the new material that's coming out, the new science that's going on with firefighting and flashovers and down to even medical stuff.
Certainly in the post-9/11 era, it's important that we're trained and adequately prepared to address hazards that are often not seen before.
As a group or a team, we get together and we train so that each person rises up to a level where we can be confident in all of our skills and abilities and perform efficiently.
The fire service being a paramilitary organization, meaning a rank system that involves you coming in at an entry level and having superiors that will guide you through the process of being and becoming a better firefighter.
You don't go all the way to the top if you got a problem. You work through your chain of command from your immediate supervisor on up.
You come in as a firefighter, EMT, or paramedic, and you can move up into the ranks through engineer, where you're operating the apparatus, pumping water at a scene. You can become captain and you can supervise a crew. Then you move into the management ranks, battalion chief, assistant chief, deputy chief. But what's nice about the fire service is the diversity in your aspirations to do different things.
You have the variety. There's always a different challenge you can have, so you can go up and you can go out. You can go either way.
The fire service is a family, and it's an amazing family.
We train together, we live together, we work together, and our families grow up together.
It's like I have two lives. I have the life when I'm at the fire station and the life I have at home. So you have two families, basically.
Working with people that, are ultimately your best friends.
Especially in the hard times, we really support each other, and it's great.
There's always some kind of bond that comes out of every call. Some calls make you laugh, some make you cry together, but it's that whole team atmosphere that I love.
The fire service has been really the most rewarding career choice I could have made, because you get to see the difference you make.
You're helping people that, it's the worst thing that could possibly be happening to them, and you're there to mitigate that.
We see a lot of bad things. I always try to stay positive. The best thing you can do is just come on scene, do the best job you can every single time.
Obviously not every day do we get to save somebody's life, but over my career there have been those days, and there's nothing better than that.
We're doing a job, yet it doesn't seem like a job.
We're going to buildings that are on fire and working so hard, but it's so rewarding. It's the best job.
Have a nice resume put together. Do it, professionally. Have somebody look at it, proofread it. When you come in for, the interview, dress nice, wear a suit, look professional. Show that you're motivated. Come visit us. Come visit our firehouses. Okay, that has always been a thing that we valued, is for candidates to come and actually visit the firehouses, meet the people that work here, and tell us about your experience.
Off of that is the other preparation is, don't get into any trouble. That's really big. Do not get into any trouble because, background checks, making sure you have that clean record, because that's big. So don't get into no trouble.
The best advice I can give, if you're going to be interviewing for San Diego Fire, seek help from San Diego firefighters, because our interview process is very different. And if you don't seek help, the odds of passing an interview are very, very tough. Fire interviews are very challenging. For example, they may say, hey, tell me about yourself. Well, that's an education, training, experience question. So if you start answering the question by telling them about yourself, that's very difficult to score against the next person. Coupled with that interview preparation, it's just make yourself as valuable as possible. You're gonna have the minimum requirements, right? But you wanna try to grasp as many other things that will make you valuable also. And some things to talk about that's gonna set you apart in that interview process. For example, professional athlete is gonna set her apart because she can talk about all the experiences and how they relate to the fire service. Just things like that will make you a valuable candidate.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I know that sounds a little scary, but the one thing I've realized in becoming a firefighter at the recruit level, and even when you get up to the chief level, is that you need to start putting yourself in situations that you might not be used to. And if that's going and knocking on the door of a fire station to talk to somebody, if that's sending an email to the ACFD recruitment, if that is going to a Cal-JAC event, you really need to start getting yourself uncomfortable, because the more times that you do things like this, you will get more comfortable.
FCTC Online has a brand new feature. As of right now, you're able to see right away if you're on the statewide eligibility list. Some key things to keep in mind to ensure that you stay on that list is a valid driver's license, your CPAC card, your general education or diploma, as well as a passing score on your written. You can schedule events online through your event management tab. If you need to reschedule, you can do it all from your dashboard.
During the pandemic, we know that we couldn't host an in-person firefighter career expo, and so with that, we came up with the idea of spotlighting a specific department, really highlighting the hiring process, the people, their services and specialties, the next time that they're hiring, and candidates could actually ask the questions that they would have asked at an expo.
Welcome to another episode of Recruitment in the Spotlight.
We have room for up to 250 young folks to be a part of our cadet program.
Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to Recruitment in the Spotlight. Ritz, if you've been here before. Today we are here with the LA County Fire Department. Hello. All right. So my name is Lasana Pakeman, she, her pronouns. I'm the recruitment manager for Cal-JAC. Very excited that I get to do that. And also, we want you to know that if you've been here before, you know exactly what to expect. But if you haven't, we want you to know we have so much in store. Make sure you stick around. We have some announcements at the end, some special announcements just for you. And so if you're not already, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so that you can watch this episode, future episodes and videos. We have plenty of content about the CPAT, the FCTC written test, fire departments that are hiring, like the one we'll be talking with today, and so much more. Also joining me, we have the FCTC Program Director, Mitch Deanda.
Hello, everyone. Glad to have you here. And I know we're really excited to hear from our panel from LA County. And to help us out, as it says in the chat, please let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to know where the audience is from, and I know that there are people from all over that are interested in working for LA County, so let us know in the chat below. Also, feel free to give us a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and helps us get this information out to candidates like you.
All right, well, thank you, Mitch. And thank you for each of you that are putting your location in the chat. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let's meet our panelists. All right, so if we could start off with you, Darren, and if you could introduce yourself, and as each of you do so, if you could include your name, your rank, your years of service, and also what part of LA County do you serve in? It's a huge place.
Absolutely. My name is Darren Williams. I'm a firefighter for the Los Angeles County Fire Department, and I've been a firefighter for about 3.5 years, and my station is at 162 in the city of Hawthorne. I serve the people of Hawthorne.
Okay, and congrats for making it off probation.
Absolutely, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Cian Freeman, and I'm a firefighter paramedic with LA County. I've been on the job for almost 7 years now, and I am stationed at our Station 101s, which is in Claremont, California.
Okay.
And I'm John Tran. I'm with LA County Fire as well, firefighter specialist. I've been a firefighter specialist and firefighter for about 14 years now, and I'm currently at 64s in the city of San Dimas.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Torres. I'm also a firefighter specialist for LA County. This is my 10th year now, and located Irwindale, California, just outside of San Gabriel Valley.
All right, and so LA County does things a little differently. So firefighter specialist, what does that mean? Or what, if someone could give a definition of that.
The firefighter specialist is basically the equivalent to an engineer.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Apparatus operator.
Apparatus operators.
Thank you. Awesome. All right. So we thought we could go into your journeys into the fire service. John Tran, we'll start with you. What aspects of the fire service interested you, and then what steps did you take to prepare to become a firefighter?
The one thing that interests me the most is not knowing what's going to happen every day. Going out, going to work, being with the family or our crew, which is we call our family sometimes, and but just not knowing what the day's going to bring. In moments of time, things can change. So that part really stuck out. And what I did for my journey was I went out, got information, saw what I needed to do, and continued my journey as far as going to the Air Force, became a firefighter there, came out with the goal of becoming a firefighter, but the dream of working for LA County Fire, which I just kept on pursuing it, and now here I am.
All right, beautiful. And so how about you, Jonathan?
I know from a young age, I always had the burning desire to give back and help. The medical field was something I had decided I knew I wanted to do from a young age. I was lucky to find the fire department, and upon reaching that decision shortly after leaving a career of football and studying in college, enrolled, took the fire tech courses, achieved the degree in fire science, and was lucky enough to get picked up by LA County Fire Department.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have a really cool story in terms of those making sacrifices for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm first generation American. Both my parents are from Mexico and came out at a very young age. to put me in this position. Both my parents instilled a sense of honor and duty, and because of that, I've always felt the gratitude and the need to give back. Their sacrifice was a big part of the reason I'm here, and I'm eternally grateful to them.
Yeah, there we go. All right. And so, Darren, let's hear about you. What brought you here, and did you always know you wanted to become a firefighter?
No, I did not. But basically, I always knew that in some capacity, I just wanted to be a public servant. So both of my parents, they're police officers, so I was raised with the core values of just, public service, having others come before self. And I was involved with sports when I was younger, played from basketball from high school through college, and it was in training at the gym, I got approached by an individual, and we had a conversation, and he basically let me know he was a county fireman, he was a county captain, and he basically saw some qualities. He said, just recommended maybe you should try to become a firefighter. So while I was in college, I applied to a couple departments. County had an application process available in 2019. I was put into contact with some mentors who I was informed about through the county. They offered a program called the Stentorians. It's a Black Firefighters Association. They once I got into contact with them, they guided me in our process. And from there, once again, the 2019 test was available. I basically was ready. They showed me all the ins and outs of it. And from there, I was able to get on. So that's my story.
Okay. And so you mentioned the Stentorians. Can you shout them out again? I know we'll talk about them a little bit later. Can you just say their name again?
Absolutely. It's the Stentorians. It's a Black Firefighter Association, and they basically go out into the community and form individuals who are pursuing and have a desire to pursue the fire service. They give us the steps on how to do so. So, once again, my purpose, I believe, was just being a public servant, and this is the best department to do that with. So. Okay.
And so, Sian, before we come to you, we do want to know, you come from a police background. Yes. How did your family respond when they found out you were going fire?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So my dad, basically, he was a sheriff in Temple City. He was a detective. And he always let me know that being an officer is always going to be there, but seek elsewhere first. And he, just like most officers, they push fire on their sons and family members because it's a rewarding career. So I went into that field, and they were all happy. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Sons and daughters can become firefighters too. Beautiful. And so, Sian, how about you? If you could talk about your career path, how it evolved, and then how you knew the fire service was the right fit for you.
Right. So mine starts a long time ago. My very first experience of the fire service was a tour as a kindergartner through a fire station. And I went through that day and thought, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing. The unfortunate thing is that as a young gal, years ago, telling people that that's what you want to be, I want to be a firefighter. Anytime someone would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? My response was, well, I'm going to grow up to be a firefighter. And the response I would get back was, oh, honey, being that's not for you. You're a girl. You don't want to be a firefighter. And as time went on, I would tell people, yeah, I want to be a firefighter when I grow up. And every time I would see an engine go by, there goes my ride. I want to be a firefighter. And it was constantly met with, no, that's not for you. So eventually you start to believe it. And it wasn't until I experienced a family tragedy that I realized life is way too short. And I woke up and, you know what, if there was one thing that I ever wanted to do in life, what would it be? And I realized I want to be a firefighter. And that was when I started my pursuit to becoming and exploring what being a firefighter was all about. I never had anybody in my family who were firefighters prior. My only real experience was that first experience through going to that kindergarten walkthrough. But I knew inside that that was something that I wanted to be a part of. And I took the steps, and without the support of my family, my husband to encourage me through, we just took the step. I jumped in head first, made the decision, and here I am.
And only because we know. What age were you when you started pursuing
so,
fire?
When I very first made that decision, I'll never forget that conversation in the car with my husband. Yeah, if there was anything you ever wanted to do, and of course this is after I found out about my younger sister who passed away, that I looked at him and said, I want to be a firefighter. And he looked back at me and went, what? And I said, yes, that's what I would want to do. And he goes, okay, if that's what you're going to do, then that's what we're going to do. And I was 40 years old at that time. Knew I was like, okay, well, it's time to start looking. I had just had a baby. I have 2 kids, just had a baby, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how this is going to happen. We're going to make it happen. And then started making the process forward. I had a career prior, completely different, separate career, and decided that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to jump in head first, and had to resign from my position that I had in my other career, and went for it. Went through a private fire academy at 41 years old with a little baby. She was under a year old at that time, and then got hired with LA County, continuing the process at 44 years old, and went through their tower and successfully completed their tower with a lot of hard work. Nobody gives it to you. It was a lot of hard work, and here I am today. And I will tell you, I feel so blessed to be able to work for this department, the options they give us, and it's pretty amazing.
Shout out to stepping out on fear and overcoming fears.
Right.
Shout out to you. Beautiful, beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. It's incredible that you achieved the goal of becoming a firefighter, and the dream is?
The goal is a firefighter. The dream is to work for LA County.
There we go. All right. So we want to talk about many of the opportunities and specialties available at LA County. And so we know LA County is a huge fire department. Cian, can you give us an overview of the department, some of the specialties, opportunities that are unique to LA?
Right. I think the biggest things that stand out is we have an urban search and rescue team that is, bar none, one of the top in the nation. There are only 2 urban search and rescue teams or departments that get deployed internationally, and we happen to be one of them. The other one is on the other side of the country. And so we have that. We have an amazing peer support program. We have an amazing, we do all kinds of things with helicopters and wildland. And we have a bike team that goes into big events and parades and things along those lines. I think what's really incredible is because our department is a large department, there's so many different opportunities, and coming into the department with different life skills, I have found, even though I had a previous career before, I've been able to utilize a lot of what I did prior into our department, which is outstanding. And I think we find that a lot with a lot of our firefighters. They come in with all different types of skills that may or may not be related to firefighting that they're able to utilize with our department. And that's pretty cool.
That's absolutely a strength.
Yeah.
I think we have in our department is the walks of life we all come from. You never know what station you're going to be at. You never know what call you're going to be, but we know that we all bring something unique and special to this department. And I think that's one of the main reasons that sets us apart from other fire departments is just our vast size. Right. The fact that we have so many great people in our ranks. The equipment's one thing. It's the people that occupy the seats that absolutely are the specialty.
Right.
And a few of the other things that our department does that I want to highlight is our Ready, Set, Go program. That's for since we're so much involved with wildland, it's basically a program to let our residents know what to do in case of a brush fire, how to prepare, hazards, things to look out for. So prior to us arriving, in case these incidents, we have our CERT program, which is probably one of the best ones in the nation, and that's the community emergency response teams. Where the community involvement can help us do our job when we're not there to get things started. And another one that's really special is the Sirens of Silence. It's for autistic children. So we have that program, which I feel we're probably one of the departments that were pioneers of that program. And with that program, it's 3 different things. It teaches us as first responders, if we encounter children that are autistic, how within that spectrum, how to work with them to understand what their needs are. The other one is making more of our activities more involved for the special needs. And ultimately, it's the third is just community education. Right. So our department is more than just our USAR, our task force, our boats, our helicopters. It's also with the community, and those are the three things we like to do.
So we are also combined with our lifeguard organization. So the whole lifeguard program is part of our fire department as well. Another thing that's really dear to me is we have a chaplain program with our department that reaches out, especially if we have individuals who have had struggles or passed away, even our retirees, and they go out and care for the families, which is awesome. And we do a lot of community activities, such as our Explorer program, which we'll get into probably, and our different events that we do that reach out to the community and get them involved with firefighting. So it's pretty amazing.
And so are any of you involved with any of these programs?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, well, let's start with you.
So with our newly affinity group, Los Bomberos de LA County, we are resurrecting the Hispanic Association within the LA County Fire Department. And one of our goals is to head up and run our bilingual Spanish-English CERT program in various of our underserved communities within LA County. We know 60%, if not more, of LA County is of Hispanic descent. And it's one of those things we hold near and dear, where we can feel like we're giving back and educating the public and making them aware of what the possibilities are. So.
Well, kudos to you all for resurrecting the program. There's a huge need, so thank you for having that in existence. As well as the Sirens of Silence, you called it?
Yes.
What a thoughtful, intentional program. That sounds amazing.
It's great. It's one of a kind. But it's the thing I love about it. It educates us as first responders. Sometimes we forget that we need to learn something new as well. And at the end of the day, it's a win for everybody.
And so speaking of affinity groups, I believe you belong to one as well. Can you tell us about the API community?
Yes, the API is the Asian Pacific Islander, and we're here, basically we're a support program, we're a mentorship. We try to get community involvement, and it's open to everybody, but we try to focus on the Asian communities to educate and to let them know, hey, if there's a path, if there's anything they want us to help with as far as becoming firefighters, we're gonna have a mentorship. It's for our department, just to understand that collectively, we're all working together. At the end of the day, we all have a common bond and a common goal, is to make the county as diverse and as the best possible out there.
We're just going to go right on down the line.
Right.
See, we know you're involved.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you're involved in.
So I'm involved in the Women's Fire League. What is really phenomenal about our program, we've been around since 2014, and we've been able to put on and create a lot of programs for our communities. And that's ultimately our goal, is to expose young ladies and young men as well to the fire service. And so we have opportunities to give a face to a female firefighter, which for myself, I never saw before I was even hired in my 40s, a female firefighter. So to have an opportunity to have answer questions that are unique and encourage young ladies that, yeah, you too can be a firefighter, and there is a place for you. And so we have a program that's called the Women's Fire Prep Academy. It is not open just to women. It's men and women. Of course, we do tend to have more women that show up, but it's an opportunity for young gals, and they don't even have to be young. They can be old like me. For individuals to come and actually get a feel for the equipment, touch a hose line, put an SCBA, which is the air pack, on our backs, and throw ladders, because we have wooden ladders that are really heavy, and it takes time and practice and learning techniques and things like that. So it gives individuals the opportunity to learn about those things and get hands-on, because we can't just show up at a fire station and ask them, hey, can I throw your ladder? you can't do that. So we give that opportunity. But the other thing that's really exciting is we have what we call a girls camp. It happens twice a year. It's a one-day thing, and it's for kids, not just girls, but kids, 10 years to 17 years.
Oh, wow.
It is amazing. I bring my kids. I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son, and the last one we had in October, they had the best time. And we're doing another one. So June 1st, just by the way, to plug that, another kids camp, and it is an awesome day. So for us, it gives us an opportunity to get out to the community. It opens up the eyes of individuals who, like myself, thought, gosh, this is something I'd love to do, but I don't know if it's for me. Mm-hmm. And it lets them know, yeah, it can be for you too.
Mm-hmm. What a dream to have that environment where young girls, and I mean elementary school, middle school age, don't wonder if they can become a firefighter. They know they can because they've seen so many examples.
Right. My ultimate goal is I have a 10-year-old daughter, and by the time she's old enough, if she chooses firefighting as a career, I don't want her to have the doubt of, well, I'm a girl, can I do it? Or should I do it? Or is that even available to me? And I'm living proof that, yeah, if you work hard enough, it's available for you too.
So for the schools watching, June
1st,
they can register to attend the
Actually,
upcoming...
it happens on June 1st, so they can go to our website and they can register to attend. And like I said, it is an awesome day.
Okay, beautiful. So we've talked about Los Bomberos. We've talked about the API group. Also talked about WFPA, Women's Fire Prep Academy.
And Women's Fire League.
And
which
Women's
is,
Fire League.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Girls Camp.
And the Girls Camp.
Tell us about the Stentorians. What are the Stentorians working on?
Yeah, so I was a beneficiary of these programs that we're talking about right now. Like how Jonathan said with Los Bomberos, these individuals who are a part of these programs, they go out on their days off from work. We're busy. So they'll go participate and give back to the community and take on individuals who want to pursue the fire service. And I think these programs they're a bridge for people who maybe weren't involved with explorers and stuff like that for that age group. And now you're an adult, you're a professional, and you want to be a firefighter, but you don't know how. So these programs come into play and they inform you how to do it. And then once you pursue the process, we meet up, throw ladders, throw BAs, tie ropes and knots, all things that are applicable to the job. So once again, I'm a beneficiary from, Jonathan and these individuals' efforts. Now I'm in the department, it's tangible. So these things work, and we should, continue to recruit and, participate and give back to the community because there is tangible effects.
I think the coolest thing about all the different programs that we do have is they're inclusive. They're not saying you can't join because you're not a woman or whatnot. And I think that's awesome because it brings that diversity and that open arms to anybody who's interested who may have some hesitation.
Absolutely. Shout out to each of your organizations, and thank you for being here to represent each of them and yourselves as your firefighters with LA County. All right, well, the chat is bursting with questions for each of you. We're going to go ahead and jump to Mitch and take some candidate questions. How about that? Okay.
Thanks, Lasana. First, we're going to start out with a couple shout outs. One is to the LA County team that is answering all the questions in the chat. You are working overtime and you all are killing it right now, and we appreciate it. I also have a shout out from Kenna in our audience, who says she loves her LA County Fire Department family, best fire family in the world. Her dad works at a station in Pomona, right in the middle of San Dimas and Claremont. So you've definitely got some fans out there. As for questions, I have a few different questions about preparing for the process and getting ready to become a firefighter and apply for this job, presumably. Can one of you tell us a little bit more about the Explorer program that was mentioned?
Right. Oh, I can go. So as far as the Explorer program goes, it is a program that you can register to be a part of. It's ongoing. It is for individuals, I believe, is it 14 and up? I believe
16.
Is it 16 and up? So they start to in the high school, and they're able to meet up. They have different areas throughout the department that they meet up, and they become a group, and they're learning the skills that we teach, or the skills that we need to know in the fire service. So they learn how to tie knots. They learn how to throw their SCBAs. They learn all those things, and it's all hands-on, and it is an incredible opportunity to understand the different things that go on in the fire service at a young age.
Mm-hmm. So it's a great program for young individuals if they're not sure if this is something they want to pursue. Right. It's a great way to get involved, to get your hands on everything, and pretty much you're running the same routine we do, and you're being taught by firefighters, and in all, it's going to give you an option to kind of see, hey, this is what I want, and if it is, it's great experience to further your career from that point on. But it's a great program. A lot of the firefighters have gone through the program, and it's how we work at stations. Explorers have post. Mm-hmm. So their post is basically their station, and they have the same pride. And you have firefighters that are on now that have been on for 30 years that remember what post they've been, right, and with their postmates, and it's a great opportunity. So anybody who wants to get involved, between the age of 16 and 21, I highly recommend it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And the moderators can go ahead and put more information in the chat about where they can find out
Absolutely.
and how to get involved.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they also get to participate in some of the activities that we do. For instance, the Women's Fire League, with the Women's Fire our Prep Academy, we had a ton of the Explorers come out and assist, and also they had an opportunity to get hands-on too. So there's a lot of different things that go on with that are great. And even if they choose not to be firefighters, the experience they get in that environment can carry on to just about any skill. I mean, it gives them life skills, which are pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mitch, let's jump back to you. I know we have lots of questions coming in.
Absolutely, we do. So a lot of these questions, again, have to do with preparing and kind of how to be the best candidate, I think. So can any of you all speak to what type of experience may be preferred? A couple examples from the questions are firefighting experience versus EMT experience, fire technology classes, versus EMT certification. So any advice that you guys have on that?
Oh, I'll start with that. I'm the talker here. First of all, any experience that you get is going to be useful. Mm-hmm. So whether it's EMT, whether it's fire courses, the way I look at it is set yourself up with multiple baskets. You have the basket of the EMT, you have the basket of your fire classes or fire technology courses, you have the basket of interacting with different organizations and programs out there that can help build you up. So the more baskets you can fill, the better off you will be. So you're preparing yourself for the job always. Whether it's you're taking an application or a test here, you're taking a class here, we're doing it all and filling those baskets as you go. So every day should be the thought of, I'm bettering myself for the job, I'm bettering myself for the job. And then when you do have the opportunity to get hired, those skills and training that you put time into will pay off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jonathan, did you want to add anything to that? Or?
I can draw on my personal experience. I was lucky enough to go through a fire program and achieve a fire science degree. My fire tech courses were hands down a great exposure into the fire service. I know my professors pushed us to immerse ourselves within the culture, and it is a culture when you talk about the fire service. A county department steeped in tradition, and I know my exposure to the fire service within my degrees, going about to the different stations, mm-hmm. speaking to individuals, going to anywhere and any place that we'd get pointed to just to get any advice as far as getting hired and any insight that we could get. I know the fire tech courses that I took was a great advantage, and I think it gave us a proper vantage point as to what we were after. So setting those goals and maybe checking them every day, see if we're meeting our goals and getting to the ultimate goal of what we want to be. Definitely anything related, EMS, EMT certification, keeping your CPAT up in a current, up to date, and I'd say absolutely any and all fire tech, fire science. We know the hiring process is a long one, and there's plenty of time there to build up your resume before we get hired, hopefully. So absolutely keeping up CPAT. Again, the EMT courses and any courses is just gonna make yourself more prepared for that moment in time when you do get hired with the department.
To kind of piggyback on what Jonathan is saying, one part that's often overlooked, I believe, is visit a fire station, understand the culture. Because the unique thing about our career is not just about can we pull hose, can we put out a fire, can we do medical. We get certified for those. The things we don't get certified for, can we live with each other? Can we be in the same building? So that's the one tradition we don't want to lose, but it's very important, and I'm pretty sure everybody here agrees that being part of a team, one, you got to have your integrity. You got to trust your team, right? So with that, you visit a fire station, you understand how they live, how we eat together, how we cook, and how we hang out. So it's bonding, and it's bonding for a reason. Everything we do has a purpose. We're hanging out so that way we know everybody's personality. So we know when somebody's feeling off, somebody's just not right. So we're there for that. So it's important. Visit a fire station, ask the firefighters about the culture, and my opinion is it's just as important as having your EMT and everything else. Although it's not a requirement, it's highly, highly recommended.
And when they come, should they bring, for the visit, should they bring ice cream or should they bring a Nutri-Grain bar, or any advice on that?
They should bring an open mind and just want to learn. That's what they should bring.
Very good, very
I think
good.
even with that too, like out of the gate, like speaking on what we are talking about, coming out of the gate, you're just going to be better with all those skills that you're bringing to the table. Just makes that probationary process a lot easier. And we go on a lot of dynamic calls, and if it's your first time seeing some of this stuff, it's going to be stressful. So the more skills that you bring to the table, it makes handling that stuff a lot easier. So
any sacrifice you put in, you will get out of it. The time spent in your classes, the time spent training and exercising, which is huge. The time spent going to station, going to visit stations and interacting. The time studied for tests, for departments. All of that is, it will pay you back if you put the time in.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not, pursue that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
While you're waiting.
Right.
Okay, so use the time wisely.
Exactly. Use the time
wisely. There we go. Mitch, let's take one more question.
Awesome. So this is a question that we get pretty often, and that is how old is too old to become an LA County firefighter? And I'll kind of add a little bit onto that from some other questions on here. People have like gaps in experience in their background and things like that. So can you just kind of talk about how those different factors in your background affect, your ability to land this job?
I don't believe there's a such thing as how old is too old. There is too young, which is 18, which is a requirement for us. But as far as too old, that's all based on the individual. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's path in life is different. I've personally worked with firefighters that got on early, got on midlife, and later in life, but it's really individually based. So it's hard to say how old is too old. That's why we don't have an age limit as far as what age do you top out as, because we can't tell you what you're capable of. But through our program and our testing process, you'll find out. And if you pass, that means you're not too old, but you can be too young, which is younger than 18.
Okay, so at least 18.
At least 18.
Okay.
I want to say that CPAT test is a great indicator of whether you're ready or not for the fire service career. A lot of the things we do there are active, every day-to-day things that we see in our jobs. So
I think it has a lot, coming in as an older firefighter, it has a lot to do with what your mindset is. You get to choose whether you're too old or not, and it's how much you choose to put into it. The one caveat that I will give you is the older you get, and I know this from personal experience, take care of your body too. You do have to give yourself the time to do the recovery and that kind of thing. And you can't rely on your body anymore. You have to take care of your body. And you do have to make an effort for that so that your body will pay you back. And, but it's the recovery. Make sure that you take care of your body.
Okay, beautifully stated. I want to give you a pound, but we're so far away, but just beautifully stated. Thank you. So with that, we would love to talk about what the chat is bursting with right now, questions about your hiring process and just, what it takes to get hired. We're going to direct these questions to you. And so we know that LA County, before we get to this part specifically, we know that LA County is using the FCTC written test for the first time. And so we have Mitch, the FCTC program director, here with us. And so he's the expert on all things FCTC and this new process. And so Mitch, can you explain what candidates have to do to be ready to apply to LA County?
I can certainly do my best. Those of you that are familiar with FCTC and our statewide eligibility list, you know that there are 5 requirements to be placed on the statewide eligibility list, and those are passing the CPAT, passing the FCTC written test, being at least 18 years old, having a valid driver's license, and having a high school diploma or equivalent. So that puts you on our statewide eligibility list, which makes you available or qualified as an applicant for numerous fire departments across the state. I say that to make the point that this process is different. So for LA County, you need to take the CPAT. You do need to pass that. As John said, you need to be 18 years old. You will need a driver's license and a high school diploma, but you'll provide those to the department. And the most important thing that I want to address here is the written test. So the FCTC written test is offered on a continuous basis, and candidates are able to retake the test after 30 days or more to try to improve their score or do better. So the nuance here is that as soon as you submit an application to LA County, that is going to lock in your most recent written test score. So if you were to then take the written test again and score much higher, that doesn't matter. LA County is not going to consider that additional score. Likewise, if you submit an application without having taken the written test yet, the very first written test that you take, that score will lock in. So I know there are probably a lot of questions about that. Please put them in the chat, and we'll try to do more clarification. And then aside from that, the other thing I want to mention is LA County will start accepting applications on April 15th. And they are not going to stop accepting applications until the needs of the department have been met. There's not a set specific number that we can give you on how many folks are getting hired this round, but it'll start April 15th. Get your testing done and your application submitted as soon as you can, and the recruitment will close once the department is staffed up. That's pretty much all I've got. I feel bad for talking so long, so let's give it back to the experts.
It's excellent information, and so this is what people are looking for. Mitch, can you speak a little bit about resources to prepare for the written test for candidates who may not be ready just yet or in the process of getting ready? And also, can you talk about the FCTC financial aid offer?
Absolutely. So the first thing is prep resources. I know that any candidate that is looking to get hired at LA County is trying to figure out, how do I be as prepared as possible? Well, for the CPAT, every purchase of a CPAT test includes 2 free orientations. This is a really great opportunity to make sure that you are familiar with the expectations of the test, how the different pieces of equipment work, and to get some mentorship and coaching from our proctors and staff. You also can purchase for $30 a practice test. And this is basically a game day simulation of the CPAT. And so it will give you an idea of, well, it'll pretty much let you know whether you're ready or you need more time to get ready physically to pass that CPAT. As far as the written test, we have a free 25-page study guide that is on our website at fctconline.org. Please go check that out, download it, do the sample questions. And then in addition to that, we offer a 2.5-hour instructor-led written test prep class. And this class goes through expectations on test day, the different sections of the test, sample questions, answering candidate questions, and you'll be able to work with one of our instructors on that. So those are a couple excellent resources. And then before I get to financial aid, I also want to mention a lot of folks are going to be trying to sign up for tests to get these requirements met. And so I just want to mention that a lot of times when you check, one date might be full. But if you go back and check the next day, it might not be full. So you could get an opening there. People reschedule a lot, especially as it gets closer to the day of the test. So basically, if you're having trouble getting something that works for your schedule, we are always monitoring the numbers ourselves, but keep checking back and you may find something that works out better for you. And then last but not least is our financial aid awards. This is a really great program that we're able to offer through our partnership with the California Fire Foundation. And the foundation covers, if you qualify for the grant, it covers the entire cost of testing, prep classes, everything that I just mentioned, essentially our whole offerings. So if you have financial hardship or, and paying for these tests is going to be a barrier or an impediment to you, then please go to our website, and right at the top, you'll see financial aid. Click on that and submit that application. We have a dedicated staff person that goes through those applications, and so we'll get that process as quickly as we can, and hopefully get your testing done in time to apply for this job.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you. I'm sure the people feel extremely informed. All of this is such excellent information. And so, Jonathan, I believe you have a story about the FCTC financial aid program.
Absolutely.
Can you share?
I was a direct recipient of 2 of the scholarships to attain my CPAT, which was a requirement at the time of my hiring back in 2010. And again, extremely grateful to have qualified and have the opportunity to receive that aid. I know I was in a place of need, and the FCTC group here, as well as Cal-JAC, was fundamental in helping me secure the career I greatly love now.
Yeah, I heard that the team you worked with was so impactful. You remembered the names of the people you worked with.
Walking through these doors and hearing the names brought back memories from way back when. And again, I extended my hand and said thank you. Very gracious and blessed to have been given that opportunity. And I know I'm living proof of what that can do for somebody. So if you're in that need, feel free to explore the websites that were just discussed, and there's several opportunities, and if that's something you need, absolutely, go for it.
All right, and shout out to the team of FCTC staff that helped you along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And so, John, we're going to jump to you. We want to talk about if you can give us a quick rundown of the minimum requirements needed to apply to LA County, and so what the application process looks like and when you're hiring next.
Okay, so April 15th, 8 a.m. is when everybody can go on to our website and click on the link, and it'll take you over to government jobs to file. So with us, we have a difference between filing. You don't need any requirements to file. That's just clicking on the website saying, I'm interested. Now, to be placed, you must have your EMT that is good through the duration of your academy. So, or 6 months pass of placement, which is going to be the duration of your academy. Can't be expired. You're going to need a valid ID. You're going to need your CPAT, which is within the year, your FCTC score within the year, and you're also going to need your high school diploma or equivalent to it. And so that's what you need. But as far as filing goes, nothing. Just go on there, file, and then from when the process starts. And the website itself, LAcounty.gov, you go on there, you can read it, and it's going to have all the directions, and it's going to show you how to submit all your paperwork on time. And if you have any questions, please log onto our website prior to, read everything, and if you have any questions, contact the numbers that are given to you or the emails to clarify prior to the 15th.
Okay, I'm certain the moderators are putting all the information for the firefighter trainee position in the chat right now. But just to clarify, because I think if I were listening in, I may have heard that a little differently. When you say file, an equivalent may be to apply. Complete the application is one step, and then there's other requirements that come after.
Correct. So
okay.
Filing is just applying, and then from there you're going to go through the process to complete your application to be placed. So place is basically you're being banded or you're being selected to be part of a group. And the time frame, I couldn't tell you. This is a whole new process to us as well. This is the first time we're doing it. So, yeah.
It's important that they understand if not all of those pieces are put together when they put in their application, it's going to sit in a holding pattern until all of those pieces are in place. So we encourage everyone that you definitely work very quickly to get those things done. You know, if you're just about to finish up your EMT class or you haven't taken the CPAT test yet, please get those done as quickly as you possibly can. And if you can do it before the 15th, you're better off.
All right. And so don't miss the don't use the application date to apply. Yes. And then get your information in. All right. And so thank you both for clarifying that. Thank you. And so Darren, we want to jump to you because based on your experience, what advice do you have for candidates? And you know, this is solely based on your own experience. But what advice do you have for candidates as they're going through the application process? For those maybe who aren't ready this time around, things like that.
Absolutely. So like we stated earlier, this is all new for us as well. But just speaking from my experience, it's almost one of just stay ready. Continue to, if you don't have your EMT and all that, pursue that, get that done so that you're still going to be considered. But it's a process that might take some time. So just, you know, have patience and stay ready because you can get that email from the county at any time letting you know that you're going to continue in our process. And if you have been lagging, whether it be physically, staying up on your EMT skills and stuff like that, it's going to make that process of when you get into the tower more difficult. So just stay ready because it's going to be a length of time that you might have to wait to get contacted. So.
Okay. All right. And so does anyone want to share anything else about their experience going through or
I think
while waiting?
Being patient through the process is really important. For many of us, and again, this is a new process for us, which we're really thankful for, but for many of us, we waited. I know I waited over 3 years from the time I took my written test to the time I actually got an academy date. And I know for several of us, it was something similar, if not longer. Mm-hmm. And so be patient with that. Don't give up, don't quit. Just be patient and be diligent. And again, I can't speak enough. Get your stuff in as soon to the date, but as you were saying, stay fit. Because in that time frame, you don't want to think that, oh, I'm not part of the list anymore, and then you get the email or the phone call saying, hey, guess what? We've got you slotted for the next academy, and you haven't been exercising or training for months, so stay on top of it. My goal when I was going through was every day I wake up, today's going to be the day. Today is the day. So if you're constantly reminding yourself that today might be the day, then it motivates you to get up when you don't want to go work out or exercise or move forward.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so I'm sure it could also, be faster as well, and just, just the new process and all. But it sounds like getting hired with LA County can potentially take, some time. And so for candidates who are feeling a little discouraged by the timeline or might be struggling to keep hope, what makes LA County so worth the wait? And so we thought we would ask you, Jonathan.
Again, a great career for anyone looking for an avenue to give back. Being part of the Los Angeles County Fire Department, for myself, it is the big leagues, I think, when it comes to fire departments. We're very blessed to be where we're at. Very thankful for the opportunity to serve the public that we do. Could you say the question one more time?
Sure. So the question, I'll read it right from the form. So for the candidates watching who might be feeling a little discouraged by the timeline or be struggling to keep hope, what makes LA County so worth the wait?
I'll share my personal story. My path took 4 years. Short, long, I've heard of longer and shorter. I would wait that and more for what I know to be on this side of the badge, in other words. Very rewarding career. It's worth it. Keep the faith, stay in the fight. Don't be discouraged by maybe radio silence from the county. The county is a big organization made up of over 3,000 sworn personnel as well as admin. The gears turn slow, but again, in my eyes, the most rewarding and the best job that one could ask for. So don't give up. Continue. Keep your CPAT up. Re-up your written test score. Stay up on your EMT skills. Do everything that's gonna put you in a position to succeed. Right? Victory loves preparation. So be victorious every day. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And I know that the county has received lots of accolades for being one of the best places to work. So shout out to you all for that, for just having an amazing work environment, but also to give a little hope to people. I know that you all are doing more than one academy in a year now. And so can someone speak to the cadence or the amount of academies that will be occurring?
Well, we definitely have a need. We have a need for new firefighters. We have a lot of firefighters who are retiring soon, so we have a need. And based on the constant change because of the retired firefighters, we're constantly looking for new employees, and so there's a lot in. We used to have 1 or 2 academies a year.
We definitely ramped up hiring. I can remember back to a time when there was maybe 1, if not 2 classes per year, and I know we've exceeded that by more than double now. We're up to maybe 4, 5, or 6 per year. So the opportunity is there. Just be prepared for when the moment comes.
Yeah, and nothing's set in stone. It's like we talked about it earlier. It's all based on the needs of the department.
Right.
If we need more, we're going to put more through. We need less, and so forth. So as far as everybody else, looking at our process, going, okay, they're going to have 4 or 2. Don't be discouraged about the number. Just know it's going to be the needs of the department, but don't be discouraged. Everything we have that we set forth as our requirements for us, the reason they're set in place, your EMT, your CPAT, your FCTC score, is because they're all attainable, even if you come from different backgrounds. We have programs to help, and that's why it's required, and that's what makes us unique. What we're asking of everybody, if they want to join our family, our team, well, if you don't have the means financially, well, we have programs for these. That's why we asked you of this. It's just a matter of, are you going to go out and seek the information? Right. And if you go out, you look for the information, such as the FCTC, there's grants, financial aid, and I know colleges are putting through EMT programs free for anybody who's going into the fire field. So it's just a matter of just seeking the information. And that's why we ask. That's why those are our minimum requirements, because we know they're obtainable.
Right. The key point he hit on, though, is you have to make that effort. No one's going to give it to you. You have to make that effort, and it's worth making the effort.
Okay, and so we want to talk about the interview experience just from your lens. So what advice do you have for mentees preparing for the oral interview, and what can they do to make themselves stand out?
Absolutely. So there are books out there that go through potential interview questions, so read through those. Those are out there. Personally, what I did was contacted through my mentors as well, some fire stations, and we would sit down and do mock interviews with the crew, and it would just kind of get a feel of just being in a stressful environment that might be different from from what you're used to. Those sessions kind of help prepare and calm your nerves for that day when the interview came through. And it puts you in that environment of a fire station as well. So that if you can go out and seek those avenues, I would do so, because it's just going to make your interview process a lot better. And hopefully the crew that helps you, they'll refine all the little things that you might be doing wrong. They weed that out, so on the day of, you're smooth. So, yes.
Come in smooth.
Mm-hmm. Visiting the fire stations with the mock interviews, we don't know questions to the test. By the mock interviews is really, like Darren said, as far as being in a stressful environment, we can pretty much ask you, tell me the difference between an apple and an orange. That's a mock interview question to us, because we're looking more of demeanor, how you're going to sit, the best way to feel look confident and not look stressed out. So those are our mock interviews. It's not actual questions based, but it's more overall presence of being in a stressful environment in front of a panel, which is whichever station you visited. And so just to clarify.
We appreciate the clarification. Thank you for that. And so again, the chat is bursting at the seams with questions for each of you. So we're going to go ahead and jump to Mitch.
Absolutely. And we're trying to get to as many questions as we can. But just the sheer volume, we may not be able to get to each of your questions specifically, but we're going to do our best. So there are a number of questions about what is a competitive score for the written test. And so I'll go ahead and take this one, because as has been mentioned, this is a brand new process, and none of our panel of firefighters here has taken the FCTC written test to get the job with LA County. And so the answer to that question really is you want to get as high as you can. This is a job that's gonna get a lot of applicants. There's going to be a lot of competition, and so you want to just get the best score that you think you can. As I mentioned before, you do want a score that you are happy with when you submit your application, so that that is the score that locks in. So there is no set score. That being said, 70% is a passing score on the test. So to pass the test, you must score at least a 70%. But I imagine that to be competitive, you're going to have to be probably a lot higher than 70%. We also have a number of questions about having requirements done by the deadline versus after. So for instance, maybe you have your CPAT done and not your written test, or you have a CPAT and a written test score, but you are not quite finished with EMT school. You can still submit your application, as John mentioned earlier, and you can get those requirements when you graduate from EMT school, or you can go get that written test and complete those requirements on the profile. I will turn it over to the group though on, is there anything I maybe missed or said inaccurately there? And is there any preferred order of operations? Is there a certain, you should do this thing first, that thing second, so on?
No, you said it. That's the order of operation. That's up to the individual where they are, what point in the process they're at, because sometimes it's depending on appointments when you can get in. So no, that's actually well stated.
Okay, all right. Consensus on the panel. Mitch, back to you.
All right. This is a great question, I think, from Johnny Kennedy, who asks, what are questions that are best to ask on a station visit? Or, maybe not best, but do you have any sort of recommended conversation starters or certain topics that, candidates should discuss or think about when they're going in for a ride along or a station visit?
I think general questions, and this applies to any department that you go into, any station, you go and try to figure out what apparatus they have there, what tools they have on the rig, just to familiarize yourself with what we do. So those are all good questions to ask. Maybe how many stations your department has, because these could potentially be questions that might be asked of you on the interview. So having that knowledge, it shows that you've done some research on the department that you're applying to, and it just makes you that much better of a candidate, eventually, hopefully, to join us. So.
Other stuff. How's it to be married beyond a department? How's it living with other personnel? Back to the culture stuff. Right. Do we eat together? Who cooks? Why? Ask the why. Why do we cook? It's not because we're lazy. We make somebody to cook. So there's always a reason through everything we do. So ask about the daily life. Every individual. As far as the stress levels, what's the positives? To give all the pros and cons, because everybody's different. So one answer for when it comes to the culture isn't going to be a general consensus. But those are great questions to ask as well, along with all the work-related questions as well.
You can ask questions too about how do you manage your family at home? And how does that affect you, and what do you do to make that a part of your daily routine too? And I think those are important things to understand coming into the fire service, especially if you have children, and how do some of the firefighters that are on the job, how do you manage that? So.
Mitch?
All right. So we also have a number of questions about kind of background experience, and I'm going to sort of take the liberty to tie it into interviews because there's also a ton of questions about interviews. But do you have any advice for how to stand out in that interview process, and I guess how someone's background and life experience can play into or could be a strength for them in the process?
I think almost every question, regardless of what the question is, you can turn it and make it about those experiences of your own personal. And I think that's important to truly go in with an understanding of who you are, and so that when those questions come up, make it about, take those opportunities to kind of make it about you, because they only have a few moments to interview you. And we're trying to give as much information as we possibly can about, and find out as much as we can about that person.
Darren, can I ask you a question? So I know that your background, at least in terms of your education, required you to be very detail-oriented. Right. How can you tell the people what your background is, and then how you applied that level of detail to your application and process?
So I was in school to be an accountant. I was in college to be an accountant. I was working on my master's in accounting. So that is pretty detail-oriented. And in the fire service, a lot of what we do is detail-oriented, because you have to go on your day-to-day, and everything comes down to the little things. Picking up the little things can make a difference on a call that you go on. So that all applies to the process. And so all of the interview questions that you answer about yourself kind of also direct it towards how it applies to the fire service as well, because that's going to show how good of a candidate that you are going forward. So.
All right, back to you, Mitch.
All right. So just to round out this section, I want to just hit on a couple reminders, and this is probably the most important one. If you are interested in applying for this job, the most important and first thing that you should do is find the job bulletin and review it, read it extremely closely, review it again. Make sure that you are absolutely, totally clear on what the expectations are from LA County, and reach out to the numbers listed on the job bulletin, or reach out to FCTC if you have questions about the process. We want to help to make it as clear as possible for you. We understand this is brand new for everyone. So again, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to review very, very closely that job bulletin. I also want to just re-emphasize April 15th is the date that you can start submitting your applications to LA County. A number of you may, who have maybe tried already are wondering, why can't I click the green button and submit my application? And that's because it's not April 15th yet. So on the 15th at 8 a.m., go ahead and log on to NeoGov and get your application submitted. Finally, the last thing I want to touch on is just while submitting your driver's license to FCTC is not a requirement for LA County because they're collecting your driver's license. Same with EMT certs and your high school information. Although those are not required for LA County, I encourage you to still upload all of those documents and include as much information as possible on your FCTC online profile because, God forbid, you don't get the job this time around. There are, again, 175 other departments in California that utilize the statewide eligibility list for hiring. So, maybe there's a silver lining and another agency that, contacts you and is a great fit. So just want to encourage you to do both if you can, but read that job announcement. And the most important thing is that you do what LA County expects of you. Back to you, Lasana.
All right. I feel like if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, save this whole entire video, but specifically that minute marker where Mitch was just talking, and save that and just replay that over. What do I have to do? Read the bulletin over and just familiarize yourself with it so you don't miss a detail. Thank you so much, Mitch. All right, so we are going to transition yet again, and we're going to talk about starting the job. And so for candidates that are brand new to the fire service, brand new firefighter, what are some ways that they can learn about the fire service culture? And then how does LA County support new hires in that journey? John?
The best way to do it is visit a fire station. Or if you see firefighters out and about, grocery shopping or training or just around the community, ask. We're very approachable. We'll show you any information that we give you or any applicant that comes up is the same ones we'll give anybody, whether we know them or not. So just ask. And then from there, take your visits, do your research, stay fit, read books about everything as far as firefighting. Because it's a craft, it's not just a job, it's a career. So what I like to say is anybody coming in this career field, it's a craft. When you're off duty, firefighting doesn't stop. You can ask my family. Firefighting continues because we naturally, as a firefighters, you naturally go around, you see things, and you look at it through the lens of a firefighter because tomorrow you may be going on an incident where the house seems a little odd, like something you've encountered before. And the one thing the county we love to do is we're fully committed. We're committed to our community. And as part of that commitment is continue our education, going out there training. So for all the new candidates coming up, we expect the same of them prior to. Prove to the department, prove to our career field, maybe not us as individuals, but prove to the career field you are committed to learning, being better, and you're going to be committed to the communities, which is what we at LA County, that's what we require of you. So yeah, just ask questions, continue your education, never stop. Just pick up, anything. If it interests you, learn about it, dissect it, and understand why.
And that's a big part of what we do on the job is if I'm working at a station and I know there's an engineer or a captain that's really knowledgeable, I'm gonna go out of my way to seek information from them that they can hopefully give to me to make me better. So as a potential candidate, you probably should do the same exact thing because this is what you wanna do, especially with this department. Just continue to seek that continued education and make yourself better, and you'll be great.
All right, you'll be great.
The journey begins to becoming a firefighter is just once you're hired, but that's the beginning of your journey. Yeah. 30 years later, that's what you can say is the end. The end is not I've got hired on. That's the beginning. So the pathway to even becoming a firefighter is tough already, but that's going to be the easiest part of the rest of your career. Because once again, we're committed. We're committed to giving the best service. We're committed to our communities, and so it never ends. And it's a good feeling though. It's different. It's less stressful as far as
we're employed, but it is actually more stressful as far as going out there and giving the community the results that they deserve, that we promised, that we swore on oath that we're going to give them. And that's up to us as an individual in our department to have that type of culture where we don't settle for less. The bar is set high, and we're always trying to maintain at the level of the bar, and anybody else coming in, we expect of them the same thing that's expected of us.
What you're saying reminds me of something you mentioned in a previous conversation, preparing for today. You talked about how when you were a firefighter, the first few days, the first few calls, what that felt like, and like so surreal, like I'm really here, you know?
So my first few calls when I was first became a firefighter, it felt like I was doing a ride along. After the academy, I was with us because I did so much research, and I've looked at firefighters and fire engines going down, growing up. Now I'm in the seat, not realizing I'm not a ride-along anymore. I am the firefighter, and it's a surreal feeling, but it's a great feeling. And that's the feeling we encourage our firefighters to tap into later on down their career, 15 years on, 20 years on, when they're feeling a little burnt out or what. Tap into that feeling. At least for me, that's what it was. It felt like I was a ride-along. And sometimes it still does, but it's a great feeling.
Absolutely. And so we'd like to jump to you as the most recent hire with LA County on the panel. Can you talk to us about the process of going from receiving an offer of being an LA County firefighter? Like, what happens after you receive the offer? What was that like?
So after I received my offer, that was, like I said, you prepare up until then and you stay ready. But that was like go time, like, because now you know, basically with us, this process might be different, but it happens quick pretty much after you get that call. So you want to go make sure you do your station visits just to make sure that for when that academy date comes, you're ready to, you're knowledgeable of what maybe the lingo is, nothing, you just don't want anything unfamiliar. So you kind of want to touch all your bases there and just be ready in that aspect.
And so academy life and probation, anything like that you'd like to?
Yeah, so like I think that one of the bigger things that you would benefit from by like engaging yourself in that way is there's a lot of little things that we discuss with the culture that if you familiarize yourself with, it makes things a lot easier because once again, it's not unfamiliar. So just little things like what time to make coffee in the morning. Like that's something that we do, guys. Crews are coming in, they're waking up, they need that jump. So having something as simple as that ready to go is a benefit, and you're only gonna know about information like that by going and visiting a fire station and looking at guys' tendencies, because they're doing things that it might seem standard or kind of weird to you, but it's part of our culture. So just grasping that type of information will benefit you in the long run.
And everyone's been the probie on. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Because like once again, the reason we do it is because it teaches you.
Yeah.
There's a purpose to everything. Why do we give drills in front of the crews? It teaches us to do this, public speaking. So there's a meaning behind everything. Sometimes being new, we don't see it right away. But after you've been on, you start realizing, oh, that's why we do what we do.
Right. All right, beautiful. We are going to do a final check for questions. So we're going to jump back over to Mitch. Mitch, do we have any more questions?
You better believe it.
We knew it.
So a couple different questions. One is specific to the academy, and the other is specific to when you're on the job as a probationary firefighter. But just what does a general day look like, the schedule, the amount of physical activity versus rest, or, what does a day look like in the academy and then on the job?
I'll start with that one. With our academies, typically depending on the time of year, they will run between 16 and 18 weeks. And so that's all based on the time of year. With that, you start very, very early. Usually our academies, they are lined up by 6 a.m. in the morning. So they're there earlier than that. They begin their PT, which is their physical training in the morning, and that typically goes on, and then you have just enough time to change to be ready again to go for all your skills at 8 a.m. in the morning. And that continues on, and typically you're not usually driving off our academy grinder, is what we call it, until about 6 p.m. or so. So what we do is we start off in the very beginning of our academies, going through a lot of very hands-on training that we can stay consistent so we can test people throughout that training time. And it's never one individual day that's challenging. It's the back-to-back-to-back training that happens Monday through Friday that if you are not physically prepared for, it can wear you down. And so one of the things that we tend to want to really encourage people is come in fit. Couple reasons why. Number one, if you're not aerobically fit, it can be very challenging when you're going through some of the skills to be able to remember things because you become hypoxic when you're going through maybe pulling a hose line, throwing a ladder or whatnot. And so then it makes it challenging to remember the steps that you're trying to learn. With that being said, it's grueling on your body, and so you really do need to take good care of yourself when you're away. So on the weekends when you're not there, you're doing your recovery, you're doing your ice baths, you're doing your stretching and things along those lines, because it will add up and take a toll on your body. So it's really important that when people come in, they understand it is going to be taxing for everybody. But the better shape and better mentally prepared you are for that, the easier the process will be for you.
When you talked about recovery and ice baths, multiple people made a face. Say the thing.
Right.
Talk about the recovery.
Right.
What'd you do?
I mean, people end up with something super minor, like a blister on your heel because you weren't prepared to wear the boots, can cause havoc through the academy and get infected and all these different things. So you have to be aware of those kind of things to be prepared.
At the end of the day, the academy is not there to get us in shape.
Right.
You have to be well prepared getting to it, and to prevent these injuries, right? To give you the best chances of completing it, and to hopefully wear the county bear. But yeah, to anybody out there, a typical academy starts before you even get to the academy. It starts months prior. You know, everybody knows their own strengths and weaknesses. Whatever you need to do to get in physical shape and mentally and physically, that's up to the individual, but it's only up to the individual to get there. There's nobody else's responsibility to get that person there. The day of, that's when it starts. That's not when it begins. So get into shape mentally and physically prior to, and understand, you know, the academy is a place where we're teaching you to become a firefighter. We're not there to get you in shape first, and then are you going to get in shape? Absolutely, and you're going to be in the best shape of your life going through our academy. But it starts prior to.
Right. That's why I say the minute you turn in your application and all your pieces are there, every day you wake up, today might be the day. And that's why that should motivate you to get up, to exercise, to train, and do the things to prepare yourself, because you don't know when that day is going to happen. And so every day, today might be the day, I get up, you know, go work out, go run, do your workout, whatever it might be, and start creating those really good, healthy habits that are preparing you.
Jonathan, you've been really quiet. You didn't have to prepare at all for the academy, huh? You were already ready.
Oh, no. I absolutely did. I was lucky enough to live at the base of some foothills, and I was able to hit trails. Continuing my athletic career was very weightlifting oriented, playing football. So strength training, stretching, rehabbing, ice baths. I lived in the ice bath before, during, and even after my academy. You'll find several fire stations have horse troughs where we jump in with our ice and rehab during a shift, post workouts. That's one of the things that's required of us daily at the fire station. Is the physical part is a big part of what we do. We talk about working out, running, stretching, rehabbing. That all takes place at the fire station. You'll find people lifting weights. You'll find people doing yoga, stretching, everything in between, treadmills, steppers. We're lucky enough that some districts do have gyms that we take advantage of, community centers, as well as some stations do have some of those opportunities built in there at the station. So through our physical fitness programs, we're able to maintain hopefully a long career of healthy standard, right? Yeah.
That's the key, the long career, regardless of what age you start. And the only way that happens is if we take care of ourselves physically too, physically and mentally.
Yeah.
And I think too, you're gonna encounter in the academy like a how bad do you want this type of moment, and it could either be physically or it could be in the classroom. But there's the whole purpose of it is to test you to see how bad you want this job. So people who come from a background of athletics, you're used to, you know, that type of environment. It's high stress, having coaches yell at you because they're trying to get the most out of you. So those individuals, if you're part of this process, you can do well in this environment.
I know there was a saying throughout our academy that rang true and still rings true today, is iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
The grinders called that for a reason. It beats you down, but it builds you back up. And that's what we're trying to do. The shaving the heads, the everyone lining up in line, that military style of training, it's one to break down the barriers and pull us all in together. When we talk about affinity groups, when we talk about the training aspect, we're on the same team. We're all pulling on the same side of the rope. It's to get us to come together as a team and then grow and become stronger, right? So at the end of the day, I think everything we do, drilling, working out, eating together, sleeping together, we're on the same team. We all wear the same uniform. We're proud to wear the chest on our, the bear on our chest, and it's a blessing. So being physically fit is just one of the many requirements that you're going to be asked to do in our line of work.
For those listening in, the visual I want you to see is each of the 4 panelists interlocking arms, because that's the energy in the room right now. That's exactly what you guys have. This is really, really incredible. Thank you. We're going to jump back to Mitch for another question, but again, just thank you for everything you're bringing to the conversation. Mitch.
Yes, I second that. And so for our last question that I have from the audience today, is about tattoos. Can you tell us about the department's tattoo policy? Does that affect someone's ability to get hired?
It's a good question. Tattoos are very popular.
Our department, we do have a tattoo policy, but for ours is we have to wear long sleeves covered up. Can't be offensive, but for anybody who wants to know more about our tattoo policies about first getting hired on, please go back to our panel that's on there. They can answer those questions specifically.
Absolutely. Mitch?
All right. So if we didn't get to your questions, I encourage you to reach out to the department directly to get answers to those questions. If they're specific to FCTC, you can certainly reach out to us as well. And before we wrap up, I'm interested to know where are you all in the process? And let us know in the chat, in the comments down below, will you be applying for this firefighter trainee position on April 15th? Hopefully there's a lot of emphatic yeses in there. And with that, I appreciate everyone's time, and thank you to all of our panelists for this excellent conversation.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we are rounding out now. We're starting to wrap up, but we'd like to come to each of you with any final words, any words of wisdom you'd like to leave for any mentees you have that may be watching, candidates, people across the state, and just you all are international even, you know, in terms of viewership and things like that. But are there any words of wisdom you'd like folks to hear? And so we'd love to start with you.
Once again, I think that theme of just understanding that this is a process and it's going to take some time. Just don't fall out of this process because you don't have the patience. I understand that stuff in life happens and people's journeys are all different, but if you really want to work with the County of Los Angeles, I'm pretty sure you're going to be persistent and to just stay that way. You can get an opportunity 4 years down the line from when you take this test and submit your application, letting you know that you're going to get through, and just be ready for when that day comes. Understand and just continue to check in and go out of your way to seek out information, because it can end up applying later down the road. So just stay on that course, and that's in life in general as well. Just stay that course and, you know, be persistent.
I would highly recommend or suggest understanding your why of why you want to be a firefighter. And that why has to be very powerful. I tell people, write it down. Why do you want to be a firefighter? Understand it. Because then you can dig into that when you're having challenging days, when you're having a rough day at the academy, or even that long wait where you're waiting for that phone call or that email. You have that why there to continually go back. It's the light at the end of the tunnel of why you're making the sacrifices, why you're getting up early and making changes in your life to get and pursue this job. Having a good understanding of that why is extremely important, because it will get you through any challenging aspect in this process.
Be humble, be patient. Be committed to whatever path. Once you get started, be committed, and understand you're gonna have two homes. You're gonna have the home that you live in, and the home where the community that you're gonna serve. With LA County, we have 122 unincorporated cities within our department, within LA County, and 60 that's within LA County. So that's a lot of stations, or a lot of cities, 182. So be committed. Be committed to two homes: your personal home and the LA County home. Mm-hmm.
I think there's two words that come to mind when I think. It's honor and legacy. And I know my colleagues here live by it. I know I do. We strive to honor those that came before us, that wore this uniform, this great uniform, and this bear on our chest. And we strive to leave a legacy for those that are coming in the future here. So some of those recruits that are listening, we were in your seats. We're living proof that if you set your mind and you set your goals and you reach and work towards your goals, you're gonna make it. You just have to keep your head down and work. Grind while you can. Hopefully, we're doing the service of honoring those that have come before us, and hopefully leaving a legacy for you out there watching this program. Mm-hmm. So stay with it.
Mm-hmm. So many times when we have folks in your seats, and it happened again today, the advice you give is not only for the fire service, it's for life. Absolutely. It's life advice.
Because it is your life. It consumes half the time that this is our life.
Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely. On behalf of myself, on behalf of Cal-JAC FCTC, the various organizations in the building, we want to give a huge thank you to each of you. To the LA County Fire Department, the LA County Fire Department, to the machine of LA County Fire Department, right? And also to the many hands, the faces behind the scenes, in the other room, in the spaces that have worked so hard just to make today happen, and that are working continuously on this next hiring process and just all the things. So again, thank you for coming all the way to Sacramento.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, yeah. It's been a joy. I mean, there's been so many laughs, so thank you for that too. All right. So we would like you to go ahead and go to the chat if you want to follow up on any of the many things that you've learned today about the LA County Fire Department and how to get hired with them. With that, we do have a couple announcements that we'd like to share. And so these are Cal-JAC will be hosting a Firefighter Career Expo. And so this is coming up on April 6th. It will be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It'll be in Livermore, California. Go ahead, go to the Cal-JAC website, caljac.org. That's caljac.org to find more information. And so this is a family-friendly event. It's free. You can meet with fire department recruiters. There'll be lots of fire departments there. LA County will also be there. And so you can get your questions answered. We'll have ongoing presentations throughout the day from our Women's Commission, phenomenal firefighters that happen to be women. I mentioned there's a barbecue. It's free. Bring the kids. There's a kids course. Lots of fun. You'll walk away with lots of information. So make sure you join us for that. And you can go ahead and register. Excuse me. We also have a series of academies that are either we're in session, we're recruiting for, or that will be coming up. And the first one I want to tell you about is the Cal-JAC Academy happening in Sacramento. This is an EMT academy. Applications are open. We want you to go ahead and go to the website, caljacacademy.org, to find more information. And so we know that becoming an EMT, getting your EMT certification is a huge step in the process to becoming a firefighter with LA County Fire Department and many others. And so we want you to take advantage of this opportunity. Again, go to the website. If you have any questions, you can also see candidate testimonials there as well. Upcoming, we have, dun dun dun, we have the Paramedic Academy all of you have been waiting for. That will also be with LA County Fire Department. So shout out to you all. Shout out to LA County Fire Department all day, every day. We know that many candidates in the Southern California area have been waiting for this, have been asking, when is the Paramedic Academy coming to Southern California? This is it. Go to the website, caljacacademy.org, fill out the interest card, let us know that you're interested. Once we have dates in terms of when the application will open and all of that, we will make sure to send those to you. But classes will start June this year, so it's coming up very, very soon. So make sure you go ahead and go to that website, also free. Yes, it's free. And then lastly, we have another academy. And so this is another EMT academy. This will be happening in San Diego. So shout out to our partners at San Diego Fire Rescue, all the folks working really, really hard on the Cal-JAC team, at the San Diego Fire Rescue team, and all the other folks really, really getting this off the ground. But this is another opportunity to take advantage of getting your EMT certification also free. And so make sure that you go ahead and visit the website, caljacacademy.org, to learn more information about any of those 3 programs. All right, so you're here with us on YouTube. We want you to know that we're also on other platforms, and so we want you to follow us there. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. And so our handle is on the screen. It's also linked in the description. So make sure that you go ahead and check us out on each of the other platforms. There's so much other content. And so to celebrate this month, Women's History Month, we have a series up right now of candid conversations, a little different than today, but this conversation, we sit down with Black women that are firefighters, and you get to hear about their journey and their experience. And so if that represents you, if that's your demographic, if it doesn't represent you and you desire to understand more and be an ally and a partner and all of that, make sure that you check out those episodes as well. Again, I can't thank you enough for sticking with us the entire time and watching. We want to wave and say thank you to the LA County Fire Department for being here. And hopefully you were inspired by something you heard today. I highly recommend that you follow us, follow them, follow all of the pages online. And with that, we'll see you next time. Peace out, everyone.